Now to our discussion on left, right and centre, as Shah Rukh Khan's film Pathaan breaks box office records despite a social media campaign to boycott the film. Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur yesterday spoke out against this recent practice of making calls to boycott certain films, saying that such negative talk vitiates the atmosphere at a time when India is seeking to enhance its influence as a soft power. Recently, at the BJP's National Executive, Prime Minister Narendra Modi too had said to party leaders and workers to not indulge in unnecessary remarks on irrelevant issues such as movies. Let's listen into what Union Minister Anurag Thakur said.
तो मुझे लगता है भारत जैसे देश में जहां एक और हम कहते हैं कि हम अपनी सॉफ्ट पावर को बढ़ाना चाहते हैं, हमारी फिल्में आज भारत से लेकर दुनिया के अलग अलग कोनों में अपना एक नाम और पहचान बना रही हैं, तब इस तरह की बातें आने से निश्चित तौर पर कुछ प्रभाव पड़ता है वातावरण पर भी.
So our question today on Left, Right and Centre is that after the minister's warning, will the boycott brigade back off? Joining us on this discussion is Akash Deep Sabir, actor, producer and director, Girish Vankade, film trade analyst, Mahima Singh, spokesperson Congress, and we're also hoping for a BJP spokesperson to join us shortly. But first to you, Akash Deep Sabir, are you hopeful after the minister's statement that hopefully it'll have some effect? And also, Pathaan has proven that the boycott calls, at least for Pathaan, did not mean anything.
Yes, Gargi, I'm very hopeful. I was hopeful the day, eventually a few days back, I think, when Mr. Modi had to say the same thing prior to the INB minister. And I think that set the whole tone for those interested in the boycott to just bring it down, and eventually a lot of them decided not to go ahead with the boycott, like the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and a couple of other organizations with whom we've had debates also, where they were fighting that it should be banned and stuff like that. It is it's sad that we have to be hopeful, because such things should never have happened in the first place, Gargi. If we talk about media and entertainment, you'll be really surprised to know that by 2025-26, the Indian government's estimate is that this industry will be worth 4.5 lakh crores. We still don't have a dedicated ministry and a dedicated minister for an industry as big as this. Tourism does about 10-20,000 crores, 30,000 crores, and has a ombudsman, rules, regulations, dedicated ministry, efforts to promote. Nothing like that for media and entertainment. And like you said in your initial statement, we export a lot of soft power. Our television shows, our OTT shows, our films, our stage shows. So much from the Indian creators is lapped up all over the world, not only by the Indian diaspora living there, but also by locals now gradually are getting to like and understand Indian cinema, pan-India. And I think this should be taken up more seriously. I think it's time to call it a full-fledged industry. Give us banking, give us rules, regulations, keep an ombudsman, and probably realize the importance of this soft power that India generates, as rightly said by Anurag Thakurji.
Right. Girish Vankade, your views on this, and also explain to us how damaging has this been, these boycott calls. There have been movies that have bombed recently, maybe to do with the boycott calls, maybe to do with something else. Also, the film industry is recovering from, the COVID years. So, how damaging has this whole, various campaigns of boycott been for the film industry?
In my opinion, they were never damaging. In fact, it is a very small fringe group which does these boycotts on social media. The reasons for such boycotts are very flimsy, very trivial, and they don't harm the overall prospects of the film. The film which were not received properly were only because they were bad films. But for the reasons which they are boycotting, like if they are boycotting Lal Singh Chadda only because Amir Khan has met the first lady of Turkey, or they are boycotting Raksha Bandhan only because Akshay Kumar eats beef and he is from Canada. So such flimsy reason doesn't go with the audiences. And that group which does this boycott are so small and trivial that it only makes their presence felt on the social media. But beside this, if the films are good, they work. Pathaan has been received humongously only because the film has got the entertainment question. People are loving it. But when the film doesn't do well, then we think about this whether this boycott calls has hampered it or not. But I personally feel that early from Padmavat to so many films from Fire and so many films we keep on boycotting. There are always some people, some groups who don't like Bollywood. They don't like Khans, especially. And they try to find reasons where they can malign Bollywood. And there are some people, always. They will always find some reasons. And if you go through the reasons, you will find that these reasons are so trivial. So, such things, I feel that with this aid, with Honorable Minister has said, and now even Honorable Prime Minister has said, so there will be certain changes. People have now realized that irrespective of whatever boycotts are there, trends are there or the hashtags are there, people are going to the cinemas and they're loving the films. And as Akashdeep has already shared that we do so much of exports, so it has to be received properly. It has to have certain seriousness. There is certain respect or reverence which film industry demands. And with such statements of ministers,
Well, you can
definitely we are
see
going
that
in
a
the right
lot of
direction.
the actors, at least, are very hurt by this sort of negativity that we've seen on social media. Akshay Kumar was welcoming the Prime Minister's statement, saying hopefully this will help things change. Kareena Kapoor was also talking about I don't know why these boycott campaigns and don't you want us to entertain you? At some level, even if you're saying that it's not really affecting films and the good films are still doing well, at some level the actors at least are feeling hurt by this, and it's having a chilling effect on them.
It's only they feel hurt because they think it is personal. Most of the time, these boycotts are personal. So obviously, any star of the metal they will hurt, and it doesn't go well with that because they have a huge fan following. They have been in the business for so many years, and you just find a one trivial reason and you start boycotting them. So obviously, any person, any respected person, they will find isolated by such things.
Right, absolutely. And also, Mahima saying a lot of politics has gotten, entwined into Bollywood. And we've seen over the last couple of years, for some reason, at least, Bollywood has been targeted time and again on social media. Has the Mumbai film industry been targeted again, and certain individuals also targeted by various people on social media. And sometimes even, you have personalities like the Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh, who's become, I think, a censored entity all to himself, who's constantly making statements and calling out certain films and certain series.
गुड इवनिंग गार्गी, गुड इवनिंग ऑल। जो भड़काई थी उसने नफरतों से, वो जुमलों से बुझाना चाहता है। Those are the lines I want to begin with, because we are talking about a person who himself has been an ambassador of hate speech. He is the same person who once said "Goli maro salon ko," and that's what the BJP is all about: hypocrisy. You see, they do not walk the talk, and I agree with the first panelist that spoke. I believe Sabir Sahab spoke first, and he rightly said that this should have come well in time. It is coming too late in the day, Gargi, when hate speech has happened, when too much water has gone down the Ganges. You see, this kind of boycott trend, which this country had never seen, Bollywood has been close to the people, the hearts of the people of this country ever since. But the boycott trends that started since Padmavat resonate with the culture that the BJP and the RSS represent. And that's what it is about. It is not that the Prime Minister or the Information and Broadcasting Minister could not have tweeted, a simple tweet in this era of internet. We cannot believe that they could not have sent out a message when it was all at its peak. Now, when the film has seen a record opening, and you come out and you spill your culture, the hypocrisy that they reek of, it is explicit now, because it's all happened, it's all done, and it's all over now. Now they're coming in saying this. Padmavat, you would recollect the kind of hate mongering that had happened over that. that. And the dharm sansads that this country is seeing, and the communalism, the extremism you're seeing during the festivals nowadays. Dandiya, we remember the last year. We remember during the Navratris, the kind of polarization that had happened. That is exactly where it is going. It is not about, I would disagree with the film trade analyst on this point, because he said that, it is not creating a huge impact on the films. All right, maybe so, but I think we are looking at a larger picture now. The cricket and the film are larger sentiments in this country, larger than life. So the BJP has a lot to answer. Coming down now and believing that the citizens of this country are so naive, so immature that they will not understand what is going on is, I think,
No, so
living
you're saying that Anurag Thakur has made this statement now after Pathaan has been such a huge success.
Absolutely. It's been seen. You see, the strangulating of the films, the way they have done. See, we have set an international narrative by the censorship we put on a BBC documentary. And I'm sorry to say that it's doing more disservice to the BJP than it is doing good service. In fact, this kind of commenting on the films also, this kind of hate culture that they are rearing is also doing good to the films, but it's doing, the larger harm to the culture of this country, to the solidarity, to the unity of the citizenry of this country. And I think BJP must refrain by all means. The I&B minister, we would like to see being more prompt in the future.
All right, let's ask Ranbir Singh Pathania, spokesperson of the BJP, who's joined us. We were talking about Union Minister Anurag Thakur's statement against this boycott culture that we've seen over the last couple of years, and he spoke about the soft power of films, and we're hoping that this will lead to some change, because it's been very ugly to see the kind of social media campaigns that take off whenever certain films are happening on the flimsiest of reasons, and it's usually by right-wing groups.
Gargi, let's be very clear on facts. I did not want it, and I rather not aspire to wade into that controversy, but in wake of certain allegations which have been made by the Congress spokesperson, the boycott, the ban, the government control, it virtually started from Nehru Sarkar. How many books, how many journals, how many papers they were got, when there is a long, I'll say a lengthy and a cumbersome count. I'll not make a mention of it. And let's be clear on facts. Pathaan has been released just 2 or 3 days back. Prime Minister himself has red flagged the issue in the National Executive of Bharatiya Janata Party on 17th and 18th at New Delhi. There was a specific mention by Pathaan. Let's be clear in fact, nothing like...
Right, absolutely. And we mentioned this earlier. You joined late, but we did mention that the Prime Minister too, spoke on this. But Ranbir Singh Pathani, we don't want to go back to the Nehru years. The Prime Minister having to speak at the National Executive was also an indication of something, of the fact that he said, it's detracting from our work. Don't talk about things like movies. And, this question was asked to Narottam Mishra, also the Madhya Pradesh Home Minister, who is constantly putting out diktats and, statements against movies and summoning people and threatening action as well, imprisonment even.
Gargi, my point remains that irrespective of our political alignments and political ideological centricities, we need to rise above and we need to stand up to this side of sort of jingoism and this side of censorship on social media and on roads, and then physically damaging theatres, busting posters, and then try to create a hate campaign. We need to stand up. Film industry, Bollywood is a main industry, and if you see the Prime Minister's statement, it has been welcomed by a wide section of people. May they be from the film industry, may they be from the otherwise non-political side. Even we
absolutely. I think everybody welcomed it, because it was this whole practice, as I'm saying of late, has been very uncomfortable. Akashdeep Sabir, you want to say something here?
Yeah, I'd say that we leave the Congress versus BJP ideology aside, and let's just stick to the point of today's discussion. I would say that the Congress spokesperson said
with
that
politics is the reason that we talk about this, because often
it is,
that it's like a soft target.
No, no, it is. I agree with you, Gargi. But if you put a magnifying lens, you will realize this is not an official diktat from the BJP to go hammer and tongs against the film industry. I would like to appreciate Mr. Modi and his team for great work and for putting India on a very high pedestal. It is these fringe parishads and senas and groups who are getting, a little bit of courage and, and are just feeling that this is their time when sentiments are like that to also pitch in and start putting their censorship on every possible film. I mean, what business do they have to be there?
Well, you've also had the Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh talking again and again against certain films, certain, Tandav. I don't think that's seeing a second season because of the kind of statements.
No. I know. I heard his statements,
and
but
yes, the Prime Minister's statement definitely welcome, but it's come after quite a long time, and I'm glad he made it, and Anurag Thakur as well, and hopefully we won't see this constant and recognizing the soft power of Bollywood, which has taken India all over the world. Girish Vankade, what are your comments here?
Yeah, I think it is right time. We are not late at all because last year has been not well for film industry. We were not doing good films, and this year it is just the start. We had Pathaan, which opened wonderfully. Then in the coming month only, we have got 4 major films in Feb, and then again in March. So there is a huge lineup. There is huge business at stake. And if whatever comes in, if such fringe elements are isolated and they are not at all talking about the boycott anymore, then definitely it will serve us because it certainly diverts our attention because we are promoting a film. Shah Rukh didn't do a single press conference in our country only because he knew that if he says something, people will just read between the lines and then they will again have a reason to boycott.
Right, no, absolutely. And, that is the hope.
Gargi, can I just finish? Yes. Gargi?
Yes, go ahead.
Gargi, my worry is that in the guise of this boycott and vandalism, there is a certain amount of moral policing that is being enforced upon us, like people saying that how can you use the Gerua Rang in a film song, in a bikini. I don't understand. ये हरा उनका गेरुआ उनका ये narrative prime time पे आके लोग बोल रहे हैं. Where is this leading us? How come this has happened? And my reason is that the crackdown that came, whether it is through Modi ji's statement, which was most welcome, or through Mr. Thakur today, Padmavat, Urta Punjab, when there were so many such things happening, I wish this hammer had dropped at that time. We wouldn't have had to endure these 2-3 years. And I don't agree with my friend Girish that, these are personal problems and it doesn't affect the industry because it's only on social media. Social media is such a powerful tool today, Girish. Excuse me. हम भी review देखते हैं, we read comments and we make up our mind, नहीं यार, let's not see the film. See what people who are coming out of it does make a difference. I personally liked Lal Singh Chadda. It may be slow for the masses, but it was not a disaster that it became. So there has been some kind of an effect of these bans on them.
And
now, if a film is genuinely banned and it doesn't work, no problem.
These are stars we've all grown up with. They've been around for, decades and, they've had so much love from everyone. But now, so much hate, whether it be, Deepika, whether it be the Khans, even Akshay Kumar, his film faced, this boycott call.
Gargi, why should everything in Bollywood have to be based on something true?
Right, Ranbir Singh Pathaan. So,
why should everything in Bollywood have to be something
hope
true?
That this, this practice of these campaigns and very, that vitiate the atmosphere, that is something that we're not going to see, at least having any sort of official sanction, official tweets, official, sort of commentary coming from the BJP, and various personalities there at least.
No, and if you start questioning fiction, you see, most of cinema is fiction.
Right,
if you start questioning fiction, there is no end to it.
Answer to that, yes. And the fact that they should have come sooner, but we're thankful it's come now.
Gargi, Bharatiya Janata Party has nothing to do, has nothing officially to do with these all dictates and all that. The freedom of speech and expression.
Correct,
as well as
correct.
But many of, the personality spokesperson, they spoke out about the whole, this Gerua Rang, controversy.
But the whip should have come earlier, sir.
And that just adds to the kind of, negative sentiment or the hatred towards, or, this whole thing of boycott call.
How have the Senas and the Parishads developed wings?
Bharatiya Janata Party has almost 18 crores of members across the country. If one of the members stands up and that doesn't become the official version of the Bharatiya Janata Party, the leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party,
Correct.
for the time that the Pradhan Ministry has red flagged the issue and Anurag Thakurji has told his line. We need to follow it on a positive note. We need to rise above our political consideration. We need to stand up. There was a battle cry in Afghanistan during the times of Mr. Hamid Karzai that we will stand up to these mullahs, and we also need to stand up to these self-styled nonsenses also. We need to stand up to these self-styled dickers. We need to develop, we need to nurture.
For that, we needed
Right,
Mr.
Mahima
Modi and
Singh,
Mr.
you wanted
Thakur
to
and
say
other
something
senior
here?
leaders crack down,
One
which
moment,
has come
listen,
now.
Mahima, come in here. She's been waiting. Yes, go ahead.
The point to make out a fiction.
Yeah. I wish to say to Sabir Sahab and to Wankhede ji that the fringe that you're mentioning is way too thick. You see Pragya Thakur, you see Parvesh Verma. Pragya Thakur, right when this Pathaan controversy was going on, Pragya Thakur talking about sharpening their knives against the Muslims. And then, of course, our honorable minister himself is no solitary example of that. And Sabir Sahab, I must say to you, these lines I am reminded of when you talked about the Gerua Rang and the Hara Rang, that why this ruckus about this? Because बेमकसद जब शोर मचाया जाता है, अक्सर उसमें जुल्म छुपाया जाता है.
All right, so you're saying that often
I
we're
don't
seeing
want to get... No,
Yes.
you were taking everything. No, you're making it a two-party issue, which we should refrain from. We in Bollywood are not concerned about your battle with the BJP.
Behind the scenes.
No, I'm not talking about them. I'm not denying what you're saying or accepting. I'm saying keep this politics out of... We've got a specific issue that Bollywood is being targeted. Let's speak about that. Congress, BJP... How can,
Right,
where
but
has
who is sort
BJP
of
given an
criticism?
official diktat to go
Again,
after Bollywood?
Girish Wankhede, let me get you in here. This what we've seen of this boycott culture and the summoning of certain, people, or even the Madhya Pradesh Home Minister hitting out. It's had a chilling effect on some amount of creativity as well, especially on OTT platforms. You hear about certain, series that are not getting picked up for a second season because the first one created a controversy. So tell us about that.
Yeah, now it is not limited only to cinema, it has come to OTTs as well. Now, with Tanda we have seen, there was a lot of uproar against a Dalit issue, which was the part of Tanda, and even for Mirzapur, it was also
Yes.
talked about because of the filthy language. So there are certain drawbacks into the system, and there are certain liberty or the extended liberty or too much of liberty which has been taken on the OTT platforms. It's only because there is no censor. But as Akashdeep sir has said, that there are some moral policing which this does. And who are these people? When we have a censor, like for if it is Gerua Rang or if it is Saffron Bikini, it was already passed by censor. Then after passing from the censor, then there are some people who are talking against it. So what is censor for? And then you go and revisit again the same song. So this is not fair. Once we have already, there is a certain body which has a credibility and which is doing their job. So same is with OTT. Now OTT, there is no body. Now we are talking about the body. I am against any type of censorship. But here, beside this, these creators also have to take a certain responsibility in creating something which does not harm or which doesn't hurt the sentiments of the people.
All right, we're running out of time. Akashdeep, yes, your last comments.
See, after the earlier ruckus a few years back when people in the OTT sector were doing anything, realizing that they're not being censored, a self-regulatory system was to be installed and put in place, and all the major OTT platforms, Disney, Amazon, Netflix, ZEE5, Sony Live, etc., agreed and have begun to adhere to it, and you are seeing that it has toned down. My worry is not that. My worry is that when there is a government-elected chief of the censor board and he okays a film, a Parishad says, no, we're not going to allow it to happen.
Right, absolutely.
It's like saying that in the liquor industry, you've decided to put 30 rupees as excise, and a fringe group says, no, we are not going to listen, make it 60 rupees, otherwise we'll break bottles, we'll enter. I mean, what is this? Are we a banana republic? This has to stop, and stop with a very serious warning.
As we've all commented,
not
it's
just
been
a casual
this boycott culture, and hopefully the boycott brigade will now cool off and will not see these,
Pathaan
ugly sort
is
of
roaring.
social media
I hope
campaigns.
it's over.
given the, or at least getting any sort of, official sanction or any sort of support from, prominent personalities. That is the hope. And yes, definitely Bollywood soft power, our film industry soft power is something to be appreciated. Thank you all for joining us today on the program. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.